Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good morning to each and every single one of you. Donny van der Beek is set to have crunch talks with Manchester United Vice Chairman Ed Woodward at the end of the season. He's ready to quit Manchester United, get a move away to kickstart his career. We know that Donny has only started 2 Premier League games this campaign, and it appears that the player has had enough of being on the periphery, being on the edge, and being on the sidelines under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Is this a big mistake by Manchester United, and of course by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to not include Donny van der Beek on a more regular basis? Could we be losing an absolute star in the making? Or do you believe it's the other end of the spectrum, that Donny van der Beek simply isn't up to scratch within the Premier League? Everybody's going to have a different view. Everybody's going to have a difference of opinion. We're going to open up the lines for you to come on and have your say. Also, big talk today about Man United opening up talks with Serbian centre-back Nikola MILENKOVIC, currently playing at Fiorentina, mainly a centre-back, big, tall, strong, good on the ball, aggressive. Can also cover in at right back if needed as well. Talks about a move to Manchester United in the summer are supposedly underway to try and bring the 23-year-old Serbian to Manchester United. We're going to delve into that in a little bit more detail as well. What I need from you is for you to smash that like button, first and foremost, right now. Give it a whack. Subscribe to the Football Terrace as well. Very, very important to the Football Terrace that you get that done. A comment here. This is about Donny van der Beek. Says, I don't blame him. This system doesn't suit Van der Beek because we don't have quality players in the squad. Free Donny. We're seeing that from lots of people here. Free Donny, free Donny, free Donny. Thank you, Alex. Big up to yourself as well. One of my wonderful members. Lots of free Donny comments coming in this morning as well. Do you know what's interesting for me? What's really interesting for me when it comes to this conversation is very simple. Him wanting to quit Manchester United, him wanting to leave and go elsewhere, doesn't bother me, because I feel like, and I want to say this in the right way, I sort of feel like whether it's him not being good enough or the manager not fancying him, he's got to leave. Because it isn't even he's not even getting a little bit of game time. And it's been unfortunate that we've had a few injuries, and he's also been part of that injury group of players. But he just isn't getting the game time. And I want to know the reasons why you think he isn't. But in terms of him wanting to leave and go elsewhere, I mean, it's pretty normal, right? For a player, if he's not getting game time, for him to quit, for him to leave. It's just feels that way to me. I don't feel any kind of annoyance or frustration towards it. I don't know why. It's how it seems to me. I get why I would want to leave. Manager doesn't want him. We got him anyway. Now he is on the bench, and we are paying his wages for nothing. I hear you on that one. Ollie is a coward, is what this viewer here. Ollie is a coward. I'd love you to delve into that in more detail for me as to why he's a coward. Please let me know. We have only Indiana here says we have only seen the best of Donny in that Bruno goal. Wins the ball back, one-touch football. Donny, Bruno, Donny, Mata, Rashford, Bruno. What does that tell you? I don't know, Indiana. You're going to have to phone the show up when I share the link in a minute and tell me what that means. Maybe that means we don't have the ballers around him. I kind of feel like it's a mixture of a few things. I do think he struggled with the pace of the Premier League. But I also think we just don't play a style of football that's conducive for him. And the way we play is so very different to the way Ajax play. And it's a little bit of a square peg in a round hole. But I do feel for Donny, because we know what a good football player he is. Stevie here says it's favoritism. It's favoritism. It's favoritism. It's favoritism. I think we get stuck. Do you know what I think about the favoritism thing? I believe we get a little bit blindsided by it. Managers will always have their favorites. They'll pick the players that best suit the system of football they're trying to play. Now, you and I don't need to like the system of football for that to reign true. And I think it appears as favoritism when actually it's more, I need Joe Bloggs because he suits my system best, as opposed to, so there is favoritism, but not on a sort of personal level like people try and make it out to sound. Most managers will have their go-to players. In fact, every manager has their go-to players that when fit they play, especially in particular games. And then I'll do a bit of rotation. Do I think we should have utilized Donny more this season? Absolutely. I really, really do. Do I think that, I don't even understand why he hasn't, if I'm being honest. We can call it favoritism. We can say, oh, he doesn't understand football. Those reasonings don't wash for me. It seems like there's something deeper at play, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Say favoritism only? I don't know. Zaza here says, here we go again. Terry defends Ole's system. Where did I defend Ole's system, my friend? Where did I defend it? I didn't say it was a brilliant system. I didn't say it was a mesmerizing system. But he does have a system. Whether people like it or not. You don't have to like it. You don't have to recognize it. He does have a system. And it could be that his system is there's no system. Okay, there is none. Well, but that equally explains why maybe Donny doesn't fit. Because in the non-system system, Donny doesn't operate too well, according to Ole. That's why. So it's not about, I'm not defending Ole. I've openly said we should have played him more. Yes, I did. Will I be sad to see Donny leave? Absolutely. Do I think he should have been given more of an opportunity? Yes. Would I like to see us play a system that gets more out of a Donny van de Beek? Absolutely. So it isn't about defending Ole's system. It's about looking at rational reasons as to why. Just saying favoritism doesn't cut it for me. It's key stage one. It's key stage one. It's not even like GCSE level analysis. It's too thin. It's too thin. It doesn't feel right to me. There's far more to it than that. Donny needs to be around quick passing and pressing. I agree. And we don't. Terry's Ollie sexual, blah, blah, blah. This man here gets it right. Donny needs to be around quick passing and pressing. Yes. And we don't play with that style. Exactly. Me saying we don't play with that style isn't me defending Ole. It's just a fact. Learn to accept that. Come on. Come on, you're all so much better than this. Terry, maybe this means you are signing Grealish. I don't know. I don't know, really. I don't even think that's true. I don't even think that's true. I've got this horrible feeling we're not going to be making we might make one big signing this summer, and that's probably going to be about it. That's going to be about it. There we go. There we go. The comment here says, new signing, better than McFred and Matic, played for Ajax in the Champions League. We have no right to defend Ole. He literally got him for 2 minutes against City. Again, not defending Ole. I don't really understand why people keep saying I'm defending Ole. I haven't defended Ole once. Where is this coming from? Just because I've not come out and said, Ole's a dickhead, bruv. Ole's an idiot for not playing. Ole's a fool. Just because I'm not attacking Ole doesn't mean I'm defending him. It's a weird, very, very, very weird response from yourselves. I'm disappointed in the Football Terrace community this morning. Oh, I really am. A gal says Grealish is going to Arsenal. iTest just says free Donny. Listen, we're going to open up the lines for you to come on and have your say. As for me, I've said all along, disappointed, gutted even that Donny wants to leave. Disappointed in Manchester United and Ole for not involving him more, not getting the best out of him. And if they do think it's because he's got to adjust to the league, let me just say this now. They haven't. This is where I will criticize Ole massively. You haven't managed him in the situation well enough to make Donny want to stay on and give it another year. The way he's been managed clearly is like they clearly haven't kept him on side. And I've praised good things that Ole's done with man management, but equally when he gets it wrong, it needs to be criticised as well. There's no doubt about it. There's a comment here from someone that says, I love some of your comments. I want to read them all out here. Another free Denny. Terry, stop crying. He didn't even accuse you of defending Ole. I did. Not the guy's comment I put up, but the people calling me an Ole sexual and why am I defending Ole's tactics? That's quite literally saying I'm defending Ole here. Don't understand why United bought him if Donny ain't playing. But that's my point. That's my point. It's just getting to a point, and it isn't even that. If it was just you're not up to par right now, you're not up to scratch right now, you're not up to speed right now, I would kind of understand it. I would kind of understand it. You could manage that, put him on a program. The fact he's looking to quit tells me that Man United simply have not managed the situation well enough. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. We're going to share the link now for you to come on and have your say. We're going to put that in the live comment section and on the Discord server. So do me a favor right now. Get yourselves involved. Call in and have your say. I want to know your thoughts. And I want your opinions on Nikola MILENKOVIC, who's linked to Man United, centre-back and right-back from Fiorentina. I want your views and I want your opinions on that right now. South London's Finest says, I would take Donny all day at Arsenal. He will definitely fit an Arteta team to a T, Terry. And he may very well do. And that's the fear of letting Donny van der Beek go, that he clicks and flies next year. And for me, Ole has to find a way of integrating him. Ole has to find a way of getting the best out of him because technically he's better than Fred. He's better than Matic. He's better than McTominay. They have to find a way of utilizing the quality of this lad because we've seen it. And if it is that they believe it's going to take him time to get used to the speed, look how Thiago struggled this year. They need to manage the situation at the very least. Give him more of an opportunity. I really, really do. It'll be so disappointing to see him go. Let's go to the first caller of the day. We're going to get Pav on the line. Pav, welcome to the terrace, mate. What do you want to say?
Yeah, on this Donny van der Beek, he ain't going anywhere. I don't believe he wants out. I understand him not getting enough game time, and I kind of criticise Ole for not giving him that game time. The beginning of the season, you saw his performance when he came in against Crystal Palace, scored a goal even though we lost. Even I think it was a 4-0 win against Newcastle. You saw them sort of games, what he was bringing. After that, I don't know why we stopped using him and just reverted back to like Matic, Fred, McTominay. But him leaving, like the stories coming out of Daily Star where they're saying he's going to hold talks with Ed Woodward to find out why he's not getting his game time. I don't believe any of it. Like I think at the end of the season you'll see maybe him come back this week. You'll see him probably get game time. And I believe like probably next season this guy will get more game time if Pogba leaves. Even if Pogba stays, I believe that you'll see Donny get more game time. But I can't see this guy leaving, and I don't believe he wants to go unless something drastic happens where Ole or the board tells him that you no longer need him, we're going to sell you. But I don't know, man. I think it's just a load of media bullcrap again.
Do you think that Donny van der Beek is good enough for Man United?
Of course he is. The guy's 23. Look at what he's done at Ajax. Look at what he done in that Champions League run, and look at what you've seen when he's coming. Like there isn't that many, maybe like one or performance where you could say that he could have done more, but he's done more than he hasn't really put a foot wrong since he's come here. It's just I don't get why he hasn't really had the game time. Like Ole come out and said like he needs to get used to the league. Like I don't know, maybe there is a bit of truth in that. Maybe he's trying to
I think there's a bit of truth in it. But I know he's been injured for a little while now, and I do believe in this last 4 or 5 weeks he may have been utilised if he wasn't injured. So it could be just bad timing in relation to that. But there has to be a balance here. and this is the only thing, this is the one area of this where I'm going to criticize Ole. I know that hundreds of players have come out and said that their first year, 18 months in the Premier League has been difficult for them, adjusting to the speed, aggression, physicality, etc. And a new club, new system, moving to a new country at a young age, moving to a new country during lockdown, so you're not expect like all these things play a part. And I've seen a lot of people give those same excuses to the Kai Havertz and the Werners, etc., Thiagos. So it's a case of let's give benefit of the doubt to Donny here that he could improve. But Ole does need to give him more of an opportunity. And I know that he wasn't available on Sunday, but we've seen too many times this season where substitutions haven't been made. Substitutions have been made too late, as an example. And of course, there are always players that come to the Premier League and kill it straight away. Bruno Fernandes is a standout example where he comes in and he just looks brilliant from the get-go. You've had Fofana off the top of my head from Leicester that comes in and does it. But for every player that comes in straight away and hits the ground running, there are examples of players that come in and struggle because it's just some people are suited to it and some people need a bit of time to adjust. My biggest criticism of Ole in this process, though, is two things. I think he could have given him more game time. And secondly, if he is thinking of leaving and even just having a talk and saying, look, I think I've got to leave, and the club are having to repair a bit of damage and getting back on track, it tells me that they haven't managed the situation well enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it'll be an interesting one to see how. I mean, the good thing for Man United is the ball's in their court because he's got 3-4 years left on his contract. They're not going to be forced into selling him if they don't want him to go. And I really suppose it depends on the everybody else that's coming in and leaving. If Paul Pogba's going, I very much doubt we're going to allow another central midfielder to leave, especially with how poor we are, generally speaking, at recruiting and getting people back in through the door.
Yeah, that's why I said I can't see him leaving, because even if like Pogba left, like you've got to replace Pogba with two quality players, because there's no one on this planet who can do what Pogba does. And like we've got enough midfielders. Like we already know, like McTominay, Matic, Fred, they're not good enough. Like we need strong midfield. We need that quality. We need depth. Like you've seen all these injuries that we've had, that it like our midfield's been hit badly. That's why I like these media companies, man. Like I never see them report a story about who's that geezer that joined Man City, the defender, the Dutch guy. Yeah, like that guy don't even get a look in. They spent almost 50 million on him. Why aren't you talking about him? Like what? It's always like let's bring up a story about United.
I get that, but that's because United sell newspapers. And
yeah, of course.
And Man United fans, there are a lot of Man United fans that are not happy. So that's why it happens. A lot of United fans are unhappy. So they look for, when we were, remember at the beginning of the season when we were struggling and the cameras kept on panning to Donny van der Beek's face. Every time we weren't winning, it was, why is this guy not playing? We then went on a really good run for 2 or 3 months where we got ourselves to the top of the league. During that period, #free Donny and the cameras panning to Van der Beek on the bench stopped completely because it didn't suit the narrative. It didn't. There was no need to ruffle the feathers of Man United fans and pull on a negative when things are going well. As soon as we've fallen away from the title race, it's now, let's look at another negative again. Now, if City was sitting 3rd or 4th in the league and were conceding lots of goals, and Nathan Ake wasn't playing, they would pull on that thread. They'd say, hang on, you spent £40 million on a defender here, and you're still playing John Stones, who's been a flop the whole time. It has to suit. And if things are going well for your club, it's very difficult to get a negative story to pick up traction. But we know with football fans and people in general, we're in a situation where if it isn't going how we want to look for all the different we want to focus on the negatives, and they catch fire a lot easier. Pav, really appreciate you coming on, having your say, mate. Thank you very, very much. Mate. Top man. Super chat here says some Liverpool fans having a go at Klopp for not playing Ben Davis when Klopp said he is not ready to start. We should trust Klopp. He has got things right at Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, not trusting Klopp is a madness to me. Dinesh here also says United fans should trust their manager. The thing is, bro, Man United fans don't trust their manager. Man United fans don't trust Ole, and it doesn't matter what the truth is people have their own truth. And like Ollie's come out and said things like, no signing happens at the club without the manager say so. So he has put himself in that position now publicly to say all these signings have been signed off by me. If you like Ollie, you'll pull on the notion of maybe Donny van der Beek isn't ready for the league, hasn't cut the mustard in training, is struggling physically, whatever it may be. If you dislike Ollie, it's because Ollie's system is absolutely shocking and he can't get the best out of Donny, or he doesn't see Donny's qualities. For me, I'm not really bothered about which of the two it is to a certain extent. I'm more concerned that we're going to lose a quality player and who's going to come in to replace him. I'm more concerned that we haven't managed the situation well, because that's been Man United's biggest problem over the course of the past 7 to 8 years. It's man management. It's keeping people on side. It's knowing what's right and wrong. We've signed too many good players that haven't made it at this club. Why? And even if it is Ollie, let's just say it's always been Ollie, it's always been Jose, it's always been LVG, and it's always been David Moyes that have signed off on these signings. The vast majority have been flops, according to most fans. So if we're giving managers full say-so, maybe in the modern day world, that process doesn't work. Why are we behaving like we did under Fergie, where Fergie had carte blanche, where Fergie had complete control? We need to move away from that model if the manager having the final say-so is killing us by signing the wrong players for systems, wrong players because of attitude. In the short term, we can always focus on the manager. There's no doubt. If Ollie signed Donny and Donny doesn't fit his system, I'm happy to blame Ollie. But too many of the players we've signed over the last 8 or 9 years have followed a similar path of failing at the club. There is a bigger problem going on at the football club. But again, most football fans have key stage 1 analysis. Let's look at ABC. Let's look at 1, 2, 3. Let's look at primary colors, and let's go into the playground. And the PE exam is a bit of hopscotch, a 20-meter dash, and you've got to hit a ball with a rounder's bat. That's it. It's bog standard basic analysis. It's layer 1, and it's deeper than that. It's as simple and as straightforward as that for me. So trusting the manager, I don't care about trusting the manager at Man United. I don't trust what's going on behind the scenes. If it's true the managers are all responsible for their signings, I'm cool to accept that. They keep signing crap according to you, man. So why are you letting them do that? It just doesn't make sense to me. Don't make sense to me to allow that to happen. London is red. Bro, London's blue, man. Listen, you beat Spurs, but London is definitely blue. It's Chelsea blue. It's also a little bit claret and blue at the moment as well, bruv. You guys have got a way to go. You've got 2 London teams in front of you, my guy. Comment here says, people say trust this manager. I'm not a Man United fan. There's nothing to trust with this PE teacher. I hear you on that. And that's my whole point. If you don't trust Ollie to make these decisions because he's PE teacher level, you should be focusing on the people that are giving him that power. Who's giving him that power? It's okay to scream and shout at Ollie, but it doesn't change anything. Let's go to the next caller here. Who knows is on the line? Who knows? Welcome to the terrace. What do you want to say, mate? You're muted if you're talking. No, he's not ready to speak. So we're going to go to... who are we going to go to here? We're going to go to... Their name just comes up as United. Welcome to the terrace. What do you want to say?
Hey, what I've seen of Donny, I can see why Ollie doesn't play him. Because he's not defensive enough. And Ollie always plays Fred and McTominay for a reason. Our defense is not good enough. And he needs like somebody to cover the defense. So I understand why he's not playing, but I think he might have a chance next year if he stays. So I'm not sure if the story that's coming out that he wants to leave is true. But I think if we give him another year and see what he's really made of, we might see a different player.
I agree with you. I feel like he has to get another year. I feel like he has to be given another opportunity, and I want to see Ollie playing more. Because you know what could end up happening with this situation? We could end up in a. I'm just looking at this from a fan's point of view, and this probably won't matter. This won't matter at all to the club, but it matters to me as a fan of Manchester United. I want to see him given more of an opportunity, because then we really get our answer as to whether or not It's a
Me
Donny issue,
too.
whether it's an Ole issue, or more, or completely and utterly a combination of the two. At the moment, because he hasn't had enough game time, nobody can actually give. Everyone can give an opinion or a hypothesis on why it isn't working, but nobody can
Yeah.
put a fact to it because he simply hasn't been given enough game time. If he'd have played if he played an extra 7 or 8 games and was off the pace in all of them, you could say maybe the league's a bit too fast for him. If he started more and he balled out and then was dropped again, you could say, well, Ole's got a vendetta, Ole's got favoritism. At the moment, no one knows whether their theory is right because Donny simply hasn't played enough.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing? I think he's very unlucky that he got injured during this time because this would have been his time to play. But also, what else was I going to say? Oh, he's technically better than Fred, McTominay, and who else does? I would say Matic. But the thing is, like, he's not going to give what Ole wants. And that's somebody that's going to cover the defense. And I think that's the biggest problem that Ole sees with him. So I'm not sure if he even wanted him in the beginning of the season. But he's here now, and he's a good player. So I think he should be given a chance. So we'll see.
I hear you on that, mate. Thank you very much for calling in and having your say. Really appreciate it, mate. Thank you. A lot of people have said that, did Ole really want him? Ole's made a rod for his own back by saying that the manager has the final say on all signings at the club. I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily believe Ole, but he's put that out there. So Ole is accountable for the signings that come in. I think we have to accept that to a degree based on what Ole has said. The narrative will probably change if he drops out. Other managers prior have said that they didn't have complete control over signings. So who knows with that? My view is that the manager should have a say, but it shouldn't be about the manager. It should be about the club signing players that fits the profile that we want. And if the manager isn't delivering the profile of football that we want, the manager shouldn't be kept on. I told you with Man United, the reason why there's such debate about what's right and what's wrong is because it's run like a crock of shit. And it always has been, and it always will continue to. Man United FC should face a class action lawsuit from ex-players for wasting their time and talent. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, bruv, but be careful what you wish for. You're an Arsenal fan. I mean, the same thing could literally be said for you, bro, but I hear what you're saying. I do hear where you're coming from. Let's do some more of your comments that are coming through here. Who are we talking about?
Hey guys, from here. Welcome back to a new video. Now today, it's come to my attention.
Sometimes our videos pop up on my screen, so I don't even know. Ole is an scapegoat. You mean it's a scapegoat for the fans? I think there's part of that in there as well. I think what happens with every manager at Manchester United is we lose sight of the running of the club and we focus on the manager as opposed to looking at the real root cause problems. And of course, Ole isn't beyond criticism. Nobody is saying that he is. But as we spoke about last week, and remember, I offered £5,000 for someone to come on the air live and disprove my point, and nobody took me up on the offer. It's been the same problem. We've had the same problem with every manager, the same excuses, the same criticisms, the same issues with that coach that have led to our downfall or us not being successful. And that tells me there's something deeper at play behind the scenes. But there we go. Next caller on the show, Aaron's with us. Aaron, what you saying, mate?
Terry, lovely to be back, first of all. I haven't been on for ages, so it's lovely to be on. Look, I've got my own opinions on this, and to be perfectly honest, I know Ole's come out and said all the signings are, he gets the final say. In my personal opinion, I think that's just the Glazer's words coming out of his mouth, and, people can agree to disagree or anything like that. But in my personal opinion, the Glazers are the real problem at United. Fans aren't seeing that. The thing about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is I'm not angry with him about leaving Donny out and not playing him, and I'm not against Donny for saying he wants to leave if that's true, because I'm sure he wants to get game time. And look at Jesse Lingard, he left on loan. He's probably going to go to West Ham permanently next season because he's turned into one of their biggest talents. But Donny van der Beek, it's typical United. He'll go to another club next summer and he'll become one of their best talents in a couple of years. So I'm looking at this situation and I'm thinking, I feel sorry for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's not I'm angry at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because I think he could be a brilliant, brilliant manager if he learns from previous mistakes that he's done tactically and playing the same players over and over again, even when they're not playing greatly. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could be a great manager, but he's literally doing this. You can see by his press conferences over the last couple of weeks. He's doing this job with both arms tied behind his back, because you look at the Glazers right now, they've hardly backed this manager with the right players in the right positions and the right players that will fit his system. They just bought any kind of player they wanted and a couple of future stars just to make us happy and to try and get people routed up in controversy. And meanwhile, they've got to release this £70 million shirt sale deal. They care more about business than they do about the football club. And if I'm looking at this from an outside point of view, I wouldn't be against Donny van der Beek for leaving Man United, because you look at what Alexis Sanchez did. He came in, he was arguably Arsenal's best player. He came into Man United a few years ago, and you saw the comments when he left. He said to his agent on the first day he wanted to tear up that United contract. He didn't want to be there. Romelu Lukaku, in my opinion, wasn't a Man United signing, but he was getting mismanaged and he was getting misused by the board, and he's gone on to do such success at Inter Milan. Harry Maguire, and I've said this for weeks, he was overhyped by one season at Leicester, and suddenly he's worth £80 million. He's been mismanaged tactically. However, I think he could go on and do a better job at a different club, because they're a better managed club. So it's not necessarily an Ole situation or a Donny situation. It's literally, in my opinion, the Glazers mismanaging a young man's career. And trust me, he's going to go into a different club in the summer if he leaves, and he's going to do a whole lot better than he's done at United. And again, United will miss out on that talent. But listen, Terry, massive respect to you, man. It's been a whirlwind of a couple of weeks for me. We got a 0-0 draw with Northampton. We couldn't score. Past Wall of China. But we move on to tonight's game against Oxford United, hoping for the 3 points, and we're still in the hunt for top two. So we'll see what happens. And if Donny van der Beek's looking for a new club, come to us on loan for in the Championship. We'll give you game time.
Lovely. Cheers, mate. Thank you, Aaron. All the best, mate. Listen, there's a comment here that says, Terry, big capital letters and exclamation marks. Is it the Glazers' fault that Man United have 4 to 6 top minutes played players in Europe? No, it's Ole's fault for not rotating. Completely agree. Completely agree. Completely agree. Completely agree that it's Ole that hasn't picked Donny. Completely agree that the in-game management is down to Ole. Completely agree that no substitutions coming on in the previous game is down to Ole. Completely agree that us being poor at set pieces is down to how we negotiate set pieces tactically. I totally agree, and it's down to Ole. I totally agree that our lack of mentality in the big games is largely down to Ole's overt management. Those things come down to the manager, in my opinion. But where I look beyond Ole is that in spite of all of that, they're looking to give him a new deal as long as he finishes inside the top 4. So for all the inadequacies, for all the problems, for all the mismanagement, bad tactics, no system, lack of mentality, bottling clutch games, for all of that, our board and our owners say, we're happy, have a new deal. So why I look beyond the individual manager, because it's been 4 times on the bounce now. We haven't been happy. We feel that we've reached a ceiling. We feel that there are inadequacies. We feel there are problems. And every time we've sacked the manager, a new person comes in, and we end up in almost an identical situation each time. Why? Because that's how the club are run. And the only kind of green shoot of hope, maybe light at the end of the tunnel, is that we've now put the director of football and technical director in place. But there's an irony in that, because a lot of the same people that want Ole sacked don't think he's good enough. They also think that the appointment of the technical director and the director of football are almost ceremonial. They're title only with no real power. So the irony in all of that is, if there's no change to the system or the way we're running and operating the club, sacking Ole and just bringing in somebody new means we're going to be in this exact same position again in 2 years, 18 months, 2 years' time with another new manager. How do I know that? Well, history's on my side, because it's now happened, According to the Ole outers and out the end of their tether with Ole, it's now happened 4 times on the bounce. According to the Ole outers, there is no change in direction. There is no culture. There is no United way. There is no United DNA. If none of that exists, and we're not trying to create a new way of doing things because the DOF and the new TD are ceremonial positions, how do they expect a new manager to come in and be successful when it hasn't been successful 4 times on the bounce? It's an endless, repetitive cycle. You know, it reminds me of, you know, that scene in Doctor Strange where Doctor Strange goes up into that weird-looking, multicolored universe and he keeps jumping off one planet to the other and keeps getting killed by that big, ugly, god-looking creature. I don't remember the names. That's what Man United are in. Man United are in that little vortex where it's wash, rinse, repeat over and over again. And it simply always will be. That's why I don't overtly focus on the manager where I throw my aggression and anger and frustration towards, because it is absolutely, fundamentally, categorically pointless. Pointless. Absolutely pointless. And I think until we realize that, I'm at that realization now where I can criticize certain things that are going on. Another manager isn't going to make it any better. The only way it improves is if the structural elements behind the scenes change, how we manage, how we recruit, and how we discipline our coaches. We can't allow Ole to feel that it's acceptable to just finish in the top 4. Give him a new deal just because he finished in the top 4. Standards, awful. Absolutely awful. Do me a big favor, please, people. Make sure you're smashing that like button. Next on the show, final caller is going to be a gal. What are you saying, mate?
You don't believe it, Terry, yourself, that Van de Beek is going anywhere. I know that. And what you're basically saying, this whole thing was all around how you guys can get better, how you guys can get more from Donny Van de Beek, and how the manager can get more from him. I genuinely believe this whole situation is like a Riyad Mahrez situation, where you're not going to see the best of the player until a year's time, when there's less space in his way, and he has a full preseason with the team, and he's worked with the team for a year, where everything gets everything becomes more like normal in the sense, because we haven't had a normal season. Nobody's had a normal season, and he hasn't had enough time to entrench himself into the team. And I think maybe after a year's time, you'll definitely see more of him. And it's just going to be like, it will just snap into effect right away. But right now, this whole thing about him leaving, I think it's just paper talk.
No, and it could just be paper talk. You're absolutely right. Of course it could be. There's no doubt about that. I think he does need more time. I would be gutted to see him leave at this point.
Do you think he's going to leave?
He could. Listen, nothing will surprise me with Manchester United. Angel Di Maria left after 1 year. You know, this has happened before, where players come in and then been gone. Mkhitaryan wanted to leave after his first year, as an example. That's just a couple off the top of my head without looking at excuses. Alexis Sanchez wanted to leave after 10 minutes. So it's not as though we haven't been in this situation before with players. So it wouldn't surprise me. But this is where, again, there are criticisms of Ole that are needed, but history keeps repeating itself. You know, you think Di Maria came in, wanted out within a year. Alexis wanted out almost straight away. Mkhitaryan wanted out almost straight away. It's almost as if these players get promised certain things by the club, by management, and then they're not fulfilled. Or maybe the attitude or the approach that the club has got isn't what they were told it was. And it's like, oh, I don't want to get out of here.
But this is not a football manager. They didn't tell him. I don't think they signed him telling him he was going to get this much game time and then not give him the game time.
I don't think it's about the minutes as such. I think it's more about how the club is run. And when you're in there, it's just, have you ever joined the company and you're excited and you join and you're like, it's horrible.
Yeah.
That same process, mate. It's the same thing. You join because you think, wow, the future, the culture, the rebuild, the expectations, and then reality sets in when you join and you think, this really isn't what I was promised. And that's what I think's happened with a number of these players. And because I've seen it happen on multiple occasions, that's why I'm not overtly focusing on the manager, because it's happened to many of the managers over and over again. And it's the same thing. If you just took the article today, took out the dates, took out Donny's name and threw in Mkhitaryan, Alexis Sanchez, Di Maria. It's the same
Who
article.
was the source? Who's the main source?
I didn't actually check, to be fair, this time around. I didn't, but there we go. Mate, I've got to leave because I've got a call I've got to jump onto. Everyone, I've got some super chats first. First one says, Glazers are not the ones who are putting players on the pitch. It's Ole. Totally agree. And you blame Ole for that. But who is about to give Ole a new deal? It goes beyond. You have to look beyond it, because if you are right, and I agree with you, you're right. It's wrong how Ole has managed his squad. Let's just say you're absolutely right. It's wrong how he's done it. No tactics, no system, no man management, destroying Donny's career. This board is going to give him a new deal. So the board become more accountable because they're giving him the power to operate in this way. That's where the focus needs to be. And again, I know what people say, defending Ole. It's not about defending Ole, because I could go for Ole. We could all protest and get him sacked. Next manager comes in. Same thing happens again. It's like focusing on the manager has become elementary. It's elementary. It's key stage one. It's not even the inner. It's not even the first layer of the onion. It's the skin, bruv. It's the skin of the onion that you're looking at here. What is Ole's system in a nutshell, and how is Donny van der Beek able to fit into the system? I will answer that question on the next stream, because I do have to go as it stands right now. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you very, very much indeed. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very